We're in for a hell of a ride.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to PT3600. This is the official Primal Target podcast, where we talk about one random topic for 3,600 seconds, which equals out to 1 hour. On this special episode, we have a very special guest.
What is up, guys?
We have
It's
Jamison.
your boy, J-Mo.
J-Mo, more like.
Okay.
Wow. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's made he's had a hiatus, but he's back. And also joining me, like always, is
Ashton, what's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast.
so. This episode is about theme parks. Maybe some of our favorite theme park stories, maybe some of our favorite theme park rides that we've ever gone. This is also including fairs and whatnot, so that's also a thing. So who wants to start? Should we?
Well, I think how we should do this is kind of start it off small and build up.
Okay.
So let's go with some of our first experiences. Maybe go through some of the fairs.
Okay.
Go through some of our first rides, things like that. and
See,
kind
I didn't really
go
go
from
to
there.
the fair that much, so
This is the Puyallup Fair.
Yeah.
For Washington, we live in Washington State, so our state fair is the Puyallup Fair. So you didn't really go.
well,
to the
like
Puyallup
I've gone to the fair, but haven't done any of the rides. So I
You-
just kind of walk through the stands.
Yeah,
and stuff
you've
like
gone there for concerts and whatnot, right?
that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit interesting, but you've seen some of the stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have we all ridden the octopus ride?
Yes.
Okay, so for those that don't know what the octopus ride, it is this it almost seems cheaply made when you look at it. There were two different types. There was the octopus ride, and then there's the spider ride, as far as I remember. And the octopus ride seemed safer than the spider ride because you could slide around in the seats.
Yes.
Which so both the rides are this you sit in this little how would you describe it? Like a little I don't know. Imagine Dumbo ride, but you're kind of in this man, I don't know how to
Like
really.
a box kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. It's a lap bar that gets pulled down, and it's usually two people are sitting in this little.
So it's kind of like you're on the I think it's the scrambler.
Okay.
Kind of
I
like
don't know.
how the seating is in that one, where it's like a little bench that you're basically sitting on, and the bar comes down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so it just lifts you up and down and up and down, and so it's it's not the greatest ride in the world, but I do remember riding that at Puyallup Fair.
It was a good starter ride. Yeah, I mean, most of my ride experience really started on the what was it? It must have been the spring break fair. Growing up, I consider my first actual ride going experience was when I was about 9 years old. One of my first upside down ride, which was
Ooh.
the Zipper.
Oh, I have yet to ride a zipper ride. Do you know what a zipper ride is?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Oh,
go
it's
ahead.
great. So the Zipper is basically you get in this two-person cage,
Oh.
and you have this bar in front of you that's made of foam or whatever.
Mhm.
Grab onto it, and the seats are really hard. It's terrible.
Oh, that sucks.
And
Because they're
basically-
usually at fairs,
Yes.
is what they are. They're
Yes.
usually the fair ride.
it's a fair ride. It's
Yeah.
not there's no high-end version of this to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically just in this cage that's kind of attached by hinges, so it's
Mhm.
going to swing on its own, going with whatever momentum the ride's going with, and it's all on this it looks like a picture of zipper of a jacket.
Okay.
You know, you have that center, and then you have the clips on each side.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it looks like, but that whole thing rotates, and so does your personal.
Oh, so kind of like the Mickey's Fun Wheel at.
A little bit like
Yeah,
that, but
so-
imagine it way less safer than
yes,
that.
it will just go and
That sounds fun.
flip you forward, flip you backwards. Now, when I did that, I was loving it but hating it at the same time. I was on it with my uncle,
Oh.
who is a total dick. We ended up at the top, and we could see the freeway and everything, and he started rocking it, and I was losing my
what
shit.
an
Like,
And you're
ass.
9 years old when this
yeah,
happens. Yeah.
I was losing my shit, even though like it's the same thing that was going on while it's moving. But that was my first experience, and I went on it 3 more times after that.
Nice.
So
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was at I haven't gone to the Puyallup Fair since I've gotten like ballsier when it comes to rides because at a point, uh, like it's pretty much in every kid's life. There isn't that you're afraid of everything that has like machinery that's too much movement, and so um, I guess sticking in the realm of like first time rides, uh, Space Mountain at Disneyland was my first time I ever rode a roller coaster.
mm.
Before then, I would back down. I'd wait for my friends at the like exit of every roller coaster ride, and they'd come out. Oh, that was great and awesome. I was like, no, 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 no. But Space Mountain, I'd always heard about from my mom and my dad, and they would talk about like, oh yeah, when we were kids, we would go to ride Space Mountain, and we would like go all the way. We'd go ride it, get out, run back up in line, and like ride it again, and run back up in line, and just that sound of like how they explained the ride itself was just it just sounded fun. So I was like, all right, well, sure, let's ride it. So my mom and I, this is the first time I went back to Disneyland. Since like I was 5, so this was like back in like 2009 or whatever. And so we get in line. I don't know it's a roller coaster. I just hear that everyone talk like, oh, Ric Flair talks about Space Mountain, so it's got to be cool. And so like we get in there, and all of a sudden, because the way that Space Mountain is there's a big first queue, and then you after that you give like your fast pass, or the people go, oh yeah, you and you come on, like you can go, how many, okay, go through. Then you walk through these like caverns in Space Mountain that kind of lead you to the official line, and then from that line then you get on in the official line that's inside the building. Then you can like look down and see uh the track, and I'm like, what is this ride? And all of a sudden I see the spaceship from one of the which is the roller coaster part of it, come up and just go "Tss, tss," and I was like and I like look at my mom, and I was like, this is a roller coaster? And she's like, yeah, it's a roller coaster. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know. And she's like, all right, well, we'll get up there, and if you still don't want to ride it, we won't ride it. And so we get up to it. We get to the official, like, how many? 2. All right. Over there on number 1. And I was like, oh man, oh man. And my mom's like, if you want it, this is it. If you don't want to ride it, just walk straight across, and we'll just get off. And I was like, and so the little like plastic gate opens.
Yeah.
I walk through, and I sit down, and I'm like, oh man, this
Oh
is
man.
this is it. And they're like, all right, pull the lap bars down. And so we pull the lap bar down, and the guy comes up, and he's like, up, 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 like,
Check, make
check
sure
your
it's
thing up. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, here we go, have a great time. And then it just pulls up, and the way Space Mountain is it will pull you up, and then you can see the operator of the ride sitting in this like space type looking machinery type place, and they'll wave at you if you do. And then you turn a corner, and then you go up, and you see like the stars and whatnot. And I'm like, oh man, this is exciting. This is exciting. And then finally you get to the very top, and then it goes duh, like the opera like music is going, and then all of a sudden you just start cooking through, and you're just vroom, and it's dark, and so it's like I didn't know it was dark, and B, I didn't know it was that fast, and so we're just turning turns and doing this and that, and then the ride stops after the photo is taken, and we get off, and I'm like, that was amazing. And then in my mind, I'm like, what other rides have I not been going on? And ever since then, I've never backed down from a ride, because I'm like, what experience will I miss if I don't ride it? So,
Yeah, yeah, I totally feel you there. I mean, there's a couple rides that I missed out on, like 1 year, and then I ended up going back the next.
mm-hmm.
Like for example, the Capitol Lake Fair. They used to have this ride there called the Kamikaze,
Oh.
and that is kind of like picture an axe, just kind of doing a full circle. It's sort of like the Ring of
Oh,
Fire.
they have that at Silverwood. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's sort of like the Ring of Fire, and you just back and forth, and uh, it it's fucking insane because like you have windows, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's enclosed, but you're in windows, so it's adds a little level. Like if you hit the ground, you're gonna die because you got glass.
Yeah.
um, and it's not just straight up and down. It's upside down
backwards.
everything.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
it's like you can choose your seat um to either face forward or backwards.
Well, either
So
way,
you
you're
can
gonna
either yeah, so you get to choose if you go do a front flip first or back flip first.
yeah.
And my dad really wanted me to go on it, and this he wanted me to like ball up and go on an upside down ride with him for the first time. This is before my zipper ride, and I didn't want to do it. And then the next year I wanted to do it, and then oldness kicked in, and he was unable to go on rides anymore because he would get motion sickness. So it's just a classic case of, man, I really wish I would have done that because I've never ridden a ride with my dad.
Mm.
So have you still done that ride?
Oh yeah,
To
I
this
did
day?
it like a shit ton. I was
Oh, yeah.
super bummed when I wasn't here this year.
Mm.
I was looking forward to it.
No, where was this at?
The Capitol Lake Fair. They don't
Here
even
in
have the-
Olympia.
They don't even
Oh,
have the
okay.
zipper ride anymore.
Oh, that's
Yeah, their rides are shit. I'm not going next year, so.
What about you, Jamison? What was your you got any stories of your first time stories? Because I have not
boy.
been on a ride with you because you were very anti-ride for a very long time.
Pussy.
I don't know. Well,
but-
okay, I was also like 7, Ashton. So shut the flip up.
Yeah.
Um,
So what about this? What was your first roller coaster you went on?
probably Thunder Mountain at
Oh,
Disneyland.
okay. Yeah, I'll count it as a roller coaster. Well, take us a little bit into the mindset,
Ooh.
the story.
I don't remember it too well, but I know I really didn't want to do it, but for some reason I still ended up doing it. So I sat with my dad. I think we all sat in the front of the ride.
That's a good spot.
And
Yes.
not really. Not on Thunder because you can't see anything because that giant train's in the way.
Yes.
You want to sit in the back on that ride because it whips you when you go through
It's slower up front though for
Yeah.
beginners.
it. So I know we got in line. I sat with my dad. I think you and my mom sat behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the whole time, I think my head was just in Dad's shoulders like the whole time. And then after that, it was just like, oh, okay, let's go do something else. Like I really just had nothing to think about. I just didn't want to ever do it again. And then we kept doing it. Same thing kept
Yeah,
happening.
because there was
Same
a
thing
moment
kept
of like
happening.
we were trying to get him to try the rides, but he would still psych himself out about the ride, and it was there's just so many rides you missed out on that I hope one day that we get to go and do it. But what about before we get into that kind of stuff? What was the first roller coaster that you were like, I'm putting all my fears aside. I'm doing it this year.
Probably California Screaming at Disneyland.
Okay, all right, that's a good ride. Good ride.
That's
Can you-
actually probably one of my favorite rides now.
well, now rest in peace. It's gone.
Incredicoaster.
Yeah, it's now the Incredicoaster. So take us through that story.
Like the first time I did that ride, or
Yeah, that you were like, no, we're gonna do it this time.
Okay. Well, when I did it the first time, I didn't necessarily want. Okay. When we were still here before we went to the trip, I was really excited to do it. Like I really wanted to do it. But then when we got there and I saw it,
It's an intimidating
I
ride.
was like, shit, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And so I still ended up doing it. I had to go pee so many times because, like, I don't know if it's with you guys, but if you get really scared, you just got to pee. You just got to go.
I mean, Normally, you kind of fix that in your bladder, but yeah.
No, like I would go to the bathroom and then get on the ride, and I gotta go again.
Okay.
And then as soon as we get off the ride, I wouldn't have to go anymore. It was like an instinctive thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was me, my dad, my cousin, and some family friends of hers. And so we all did it. I think I sat with my dad on it. And yeah, it was very intimidating at first. Once, like the second we got on the ride, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why did I do this? I just don't even want to be here. And then the ride was over, and I wanted to go do it again. I
Yeah.
wanted to go right back in the line. But
Nice.
they
So that was the moment that you were like,
That-
you know what,
that
this
was
is
when I
it.
was
This is
like-
the good stuff now.
that was a fun ride.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I'll get into that when we
Okay.
talk later on.
So let's go down the list of theme parks that we've all been to, including fairs and whatnot. So we'll start with you, Ashton. Where have you gone to the mystic lands of machinery that take you on the thrill?
Well, mainly with broke-ass carnies have been my experiences
Sometimes those have the best stories.
with
so-
rides. Unfortunately, I've not been to Disneyland or anything of that nature since I was 2 years old, and for some reason, I just can't remember. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, I went when I was
Idiot.
5, and I don't remember
It's just-
anything.
It's a ridiculous
What
time
a
for someone to
goof.
go to Disneyland. Take your kid on a trip. Don't take them when they won't be able to remember it.
Yeah.
So, for me, in order of when I went, first fair I went to was the Capitol Lake Fair, and then the Puyallup Fair, and then
These
we
are both
had-
in Washington.
and then Spring Break Fair, both in Lacey and also in Seattle.
So you really just stuck around the fair range.
I did not come from a very well-off family, so
I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah.
more well-off than mine if you're able to go to
Yeah.
Disneyland. But that's pretty much where my experience has been.
Okay. So the theme parks I've been to, I have been to the Puyallup Fair. I have been to Roaring Springs in Boise, Idaho. I have been to, Roaring Springs / Boondocks, which is, and then I've been to Universal Studios Hollywood. I've been to Knott's Berry Farm. I've been to Disneyland. I have been to Universal Orlando, and I've been to Disneyland, Disney World. I'm thinking back to the California things because I remember I forgot to say I've also been to Legoland, and I've been to SeaWorld San Diego. And I think those are all the theme parks over that I've been on. What about you, Jamison? Are you looking something up? Okay, all right. I'll stall for a second. So yeah, primarily West Coast. I have started hearing about these like Action Park and like, even though I don't know if those are still existent, but like
That'd be
Busch
sweet.
Gardens, like Busch Gardens in Florida seems like really awesome, but it's like you'd have to make like a day trip to even go out to Busch Gardens, even when you're in Orlando, because like if you're staying in the Disney World area, you have to like drive like 2 hours to get to Busch Gardens because it's in Tampa, and so like they're not near each other. Anyway, what about you, Jameson? What theme parks have you been to?
I have been to Universal Studios, California and Orlando.
Okay.
I have been to Disney World, Disneyland, SeaWorld, Knott's Berry Farm, and this one that is in
And
Eu-
Legoland.
Huh?
And Legoland.
Oh, and Legoland. I don't remember much. About
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've also been to a theme park that's in Europe.
Oh,
I think it's called Tivoli Gardens.
okay. And this is
Tivoli Gardens or something like that.
this is where?
It's in Europe. It's in Denmark. Well, Anaheim.
Anaheim. Anaheim, Denmark.
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, Denmark.
Denmark.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. We'll get into that stuff. And then you've also been to Silverwood.
Oh, I have been to Silverwood.
Okay.
I've been to a fair to an extent. I haven't like been on the rides, but I've been to a fair.
And that was the Puyallup Fair.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's go with Puyallup Fair stories if you have any. Do you have any Puyallup Fair stories? It doesn't have to even involve it's just the where, because this whole thing is about theme parks. So it doesn't have to necessarily be rides, but if your story does involve the ride, that's fine too. The overall experience can be your story as well. Do you got one, or do you need a little bit?
I don't really have any memorable or entertaining stories from Puyallup Fair because I only went twice
Okay.
when I was younger.
So let's say what's like 3 rides that you enjoyed?
I mean, they had this cool funhouse ride where you walk in, you do a little obstacle course.
I
Ooh,
never did those.
I like those. Those are fun.
So you start off with like a mirror maze, and you work your way up, and you have to go over like some Ninja Warrior shit where you're
Oh,
like
yeah.
going over like this ball pit on foam pedestals that are coming up out of the pit. And then it ended up with this tunnel that was it kept like rolling. Think of like a hamster wheel,
Oh, okay.
but just like really deep.
Like a cylinder that's just
Yes.
rotating. Oh,
It's
okay.
just rotating. So you're basically going through that, and then you're out. And then the Scrambler, that was the first time I rode the Scrambler.
What's that?
Scrambler is basically where you're on this bench seat. Bar comes down in front of you. You have to be with either 2 or 3 people. And it kind of just... there's 3 sections of seats. Now, each section itself rotates.
Oh.
And then it also moves around as well. So
Oh,
you're
boy.
double
Oh.
rotating. But it almost kind of like you're
Yeah.
being whipped around. Like if
Oh,
you're
fun.
spectating.
So like you'll be like, for an example, the whole thing will be spinning to the right while falling down.
Oh my
Like
god.
it'll just keep that. Is that what?
It doesn't really leave the ground.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Then we're talking about a different ride.
Yeah. That was pretty fun. It's not like for me. I can't do like there used to be this ride there called the Tornado or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, tornado.
Where you spin around while you're being spun around,
Mhm.
and you can turn the wheel to spin yourself faster. Those rides, fuck no. Like I
That'd be
can't
fun.
do them anymore. Like I'm not good with the spins. But those are like 3 rides that I remember.
Okay.
3 attractions, I guess.
So yeah, that was, like I said, the last time I was at Puyallup Fair was when I was kind of still very hesitant about rides. But I remember I'll say the food at the Puyallup Fair is very iconic for us Washingtonians. The elephant ear, always a staple for the Puyallup Fair. The scones at Puyallup Fair are I don't know what magic angel is behind the counter making those, but they're amazing.
Mushrooms, man.
And mushrooms?
Yeah, dude.
They have like grilled mushrooms at Puyallup Fair?
Yeah, on like a skewer.
Oh,
When I went,
I did not know
this
that.
was like fuck. How old am I? This was
23.
so that was like shit, like 15 years ago.
Wow.
Well, they also had
Probably been
elephant
a long
ears at Silverwood too, so that's not just like
No. I know that. I just know that these are some iconic things that Washington people know Puyallup Fair for.
Oh yeah.
And also the earthquake burger, a very like big giant burger. A lot of people get grilled onions with that thing, and it's really good. There was taffy. Taffy is also very good at Puyallup Fair because they make it right there, saltwater taffy. But there was a moment that I had the worst thing I've ever had at Puyallup Fair. I ordered a Philly cheesesteak, and I got it, and I started eating it, and there was plastic
Oh.
inside it. It's almost as if like someone's spatula melted and was in my sandwich.
Oh,
And it was the worst thing. After that I stopped eating at the Puyallup Fair. I couldn't do it. It's just the worst thing I've ever had happen to me. But yeah, no, that was probably so there was one flaw, but the food
Wow, thanks
other
for
than that,
ruining it for us too, right?
I'm just saying, don't order Philly cheesesteak. But yeah, no, if you go there for fair type food, I would recommend elephant ear, scones, pretty much any pastry. You should be good to go.
I know they have pretty good corn dogs.
I've heard that as well.
Most
but yeah,
fairs do. Yeah.
so that's my
it's
memories
not
of
hard to
Puyallup.
mess up.
Did so you said you've gone to the Puyallup Fair, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
Not
really?
honestly, no.
What concerts have you been to that go there? Do you remember?
No.
Okay. So we'll move on from Puyallup Fair,
It's just been a long time.
and we'll do a dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice.
So this one you can. This will be a story of from any park that you want to talk about. What about? So we'll go back to Ashton. Let's start with Jamison. Because you didn't get the answer to the last one. What's a story from? Because you're the only one that's been to a theme park outside of the country. Do you have any stories from that? Or like
Honestly, yeah, it was a fun theme park, but I don't have any like stories about it.
or like
Do they have any different
we don't
rides, or-
even know what is there.
Actually,
So
what was
let's.
very interesting about it was that, like I don't even know how to explain it. Like to walk into the theme park, if you didn't know it was a theme park, you would not think it's a theme park. Like it looks like royal guards should be guarding it. Like
Interesting.
it looks like a building or like a castle kind of thing. Like
Oh wow.
because at nighttime
Mhm.
there's like lights that shoot at the side of it. Like it just doesn't even look like a theme park.
It looks nice though.
Yeah, it is very beautiful inside.
Okay.
And there's like little bridges that you can walk over with like crystal water kind of thing where like lights will just like pink and blue lights will just like kind of
Twinkle through it all.
yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Huh.
And
So what was did you have anything to eat there? Or did you ride any?
I don't think we ate anything that we were only there for like 4 hours. We weren't there
Oh,
for very
okay,
long.
okay. So like did you ride any rides?
Oh yeah.
What
There
rides did
was
you ride?
I don't know what this is. I don't know what any of these were called.
That's
but-
fine. They're probably in what do they speak in Denmark?
Well,
Dutch?
Danish.
Dutch. Okay. Danish.
Well,
Danish?
where
Oh.
we were was Danish.
Oh.
Danish or English. That was two main languages that they
I
spoke
want a
down there.
Danish now.
But so there was a ride that you kind of sit in like a circle,
Okay.
and there was two different ones that were right next to each other. One is that you would sit on the outside, so it'd be kind of like this circle, and people would sit right here on the very edge, and it would just spin around.
Oh, okay.
But it would go like up high in the sky.
So it's using like the force of spinning to keep you locked into the ride.
Yeah. Or
Oh,
there was
boy.
a different one that like they were both one ride. So you could either go on the line for that one or you can go on a line for a different one, which is what Mom and I did. That it was kind of like a little carriage that you would sit in and it would kind of just slowly spin you around. So it wasn't as intense,
Yeah.
but you would still like go
Yeah.
this ride is high. And there was another one that was kind of next to it that kind of what Ashton was saying, that you would sit down and you would get to pick your seats.
Mhm.
So wherever you would sit, you would either be going falling backwards or falling forwards, and you just
geez.
decide what way you want to fall.
Great.
Now it's not as intense as what his was on, but it was still like you're falling.
Oh, boy.
It was very. Oh my. I
Wow.
probably went back in line about 10 times after doing it.
Oh, so you really liked it?
It
though.
was very fun. The first time I almost shat my pants. But it was fun.
Okay.
Um
But you've never seen any ride like that at the theme park you've been to?
no. But okay. So well this is kind of a story, but
Is it involved the Copenhagen one?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so somebody that went to the theme park with us, he was so ballsy. I don't even know what was in him, but he was also a very friendly guy. So he would
Okay.
like talk to somebody.
So he's an adrenaline junkie.
in a way, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I felt bad because you really wanted me to go on this, but I couldn't do it.
See, this was your phase
Let me
still.
explain
You were still
it
in your
to
phase.
you. Let me explain it to you. So it was a ride that would probably go at least 15 stories in the air, probably about as high as Guardians.
Okay.
And so, like from bottom to top of the building high is what I'm talking about.
So this is referencing the Disneyland California Adventure ride of Guardians Mission Breakout
Yes.
or the Walt Disney World version of Twilight Zone Tower Terror.
Oh, it is still
Tower Terror inside Hollywood Studios now.
Wow.
That's the last one.
Huh.
But anyway, go ahead.
But so it was like 2 rockets would be on each side,
Okay.
and so you would. I can't remember. I think it was just 2 people would sit in each rocket, and so it would launch like upside, like in a
So
circle.
is it on like a stick and it's just spinning around it?
No.
Oh.
Like, so the stick is here. A rocket will be here.
He is
And a rocket
pointing
would be
like
here.
vertical.
Vertical.
Yeah.
And a rocket would be on the, like another one next to it, and then another one would be on a vertical line next to it.
Okay.
So like, they would kind of just
So it's like a pinwheel kind
Like-
of.
Oh, so it like flips.
yes.
It does like a full
But
360.
The rocket would also, the part you're sitting in will spin like that.
Oh,
going up.
boy.
And so his name is John.
Okay.
So there was a kid, maybe 12 or 13, sitting next to him, and you can hear him talking to the kid on the ride while he flies back down to the ground.
my gosh.
And the next time he goes around, he's screaming on the ride.
Oh, so he was talking with it, and then as soon as he comes back, he's like yelling. You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty
Like,
funny.
that ride was in. Oh my! I would never do that.
I'd probably give it
Oh,
a shot.
I'd give
Like-
it a shot. Yeah.
It goes so high, and it's spinning at the same time while it's going up and down.
That
That's
sounds pretty
great.
funny. Okay.
That's
Oh, man.
crazy.
Okay. Well. So my story involves, as referenced previously, was Twilight Zone Tower Terror. This ride has become one of the staple rides that I have to ride this ride at least once on a trip that I go to Disneyland. Except for my previous one, but that's a different story. So first time I ever rode this, we were at Walt Disney World in Orlando, and we were at Hollywood Studios, and over in that area is also Aerosmith's Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
Really fast ride, also kind of short. But anyway, so Jamison's dad, my stepdad, and I were like, we're gonna ride Twilight Zone this time. And so, and I was in that phase of like, I was just got into riding every ride. So this is the first, like, this is the test. This is the test to see if I am ballsy enough to ride any ride, given the opportunity. I've since then started doing this thing of I don't like seeing people go on rides by themselves or not being able to go on a ride because someone won't ride with them. So I'm usually the guy that goes with them. And so my stepdad, he was like, I want to ride this ride. And we were with Jamison and my mom on this trip. So Jamison is still in his phase of no to everything. And mom was very much like, no. Like she does rides, but like there are some that she doesn't do. And so we get fast passes for it, so we have some time to kill. So we ride Rock and Roller Coaster, get done with that, and that line was horrendous.
I think you guys did Tower and then
No. We waited because we had the ticket because we walked over to. We actually missed our time because we waited in line for like an hour and a half. And so we walked up there and we're like, "Hey, we were at Rock and Roller Coaster. We wanted to ride that too. Is there any way?" And Disney, usually when you do this, like they'll let you go. It's a piece of paper that tells you to come back at this time. You're fine as long as you got it. You got it. So anyway, we go in, and you get all immersed into it, like the you are now, and so, like it just starts doing the whole Twilight Zone thing, and I'm like, oh god, it's getting real. And so we get into the line, and they have you kind of weaving in and out, just kind of getting you immersed into the theming. Disney is very good at doing the immersive like theme ride lines. They're very good at that. And so we get down to the moment where the elevator opens up, and we're allowed to walk in and sit down. And so we sit down, and I look down, and I see these little handles. And I'm like, what are these handles for? And my stepdad tells me, and he's like, Those are for when you like grab on, because there's no arm railing. It's literally you just sit down, buckle a seatbelt, and you're done. And then you go up and down.
Well, there's not even like seatbelts like out over
no,
your
no, no.
shoulders
Yeah, it's
either.
just you sit on a bench,
It's like a
and
lap belt.
and that's it. And then you click in like a normal seat belt, and so this is now officially real. And so I'm like, oh well, I'm probably not gonna have to use that. And we get in there, and all of a sudden it takes you up like normal, like a normal elevator, and then it gets you to that point, and then it opens up the doors, and then it kind of immerses you into the story of the Twilight Zone, this Tower of Terror, the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and then eventually it starts going sideways like all Twilight Zone stories do. Closes, takes you all the way up, and then opens out, and then you can see all of Hollywood studios, and then it goes boom, and it just drops you like a rock, and you're like, oh my god, and like you just get lifted out of your seat, because now like it's faster than gravity is pulling you down, so you are now lifted above your seat. And I grabbed immediately to the handles of that I had, and after that I was like, oh my god, I've never ridden a tower ride before, and that was crazy. Now, that's the backstory. Now is by far the best Disneyland story I have ever told. So,
Was
for
that
Prime,
involved?
no, this involves the first time I went to Disneyland with friends, with a group of friends.
Okay, I know it's coming.
And this is Primal Target co-founder Christian was with me. Jose and Nate were with me, and us four were in California Adventure. And we were like, okay, we want to ride something else. Let's ride something a little different. So Jose wants to ride Tower of Terror. Now, I've gone on the ride. None of them have. So this is all new. And we've been like, no's have come from all of them at some point in time. And I've been like, hey, whenever you want to do it, I will ride it. So Jose eventually gets to the point where, like, I want to ride it. So, like I said, I'm one of those people where I don't like people being told no, they can't ride this because there's no one going with them. So I go on there with them. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go to get a fast pass. So we walk up there. Nate goes, all right, I want to do it too. Like, then now Christian is the lone person. So he's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and wait for you guys. So we all get fast passes, and we all go and stand in line. Christian was silent the whole time we were in line. Didn't talk. We played Heads Up, that phone game, to pass the time. So we're all having a blast in line. Christian almost might as well been writing his will. Like, he was so quiet every single step. And then finally he started talking after we get, because you get like the outside queue, and then you get put into the tower, and you kind of go taken down to the boiler room, and there's another line. And so Christian has started talking a little bit more, and then we just started busting his balls. Like, we were just like, oh man, like I don't think I remember hearing that before. Like, just like things like that. And so we walk up, and we sit down, and Christian is sitting at the end. I'm sitting in the middle between Jose to my right, and then Nate is sitting on the other side of Jose. So Christian has a ginormous bar to hold for him, because if you're sitting in the aisle seat, you get a giant bar to the like right in front of you.
Yeah.
But for the people that sit in the seats, just how I explained earlier, there's a little handle at the bottom. So we get taken up. And this is the moment now. We get, the thing opens up, the story starts playing and closes, then we get taken over, opens up, and now we can see all of California Adventure. So I know what's going to happen next, and none of them know. And then all of a sudden, it just goes, boom, and I go to reach for my handle. There's a hand there already, and I'm like, wait, I can't. And I look down to the other handle, and I'm like, Jose took the other one, and so I'm like, oh god, what's happening? And I'm like falling I can feel the bag that I had between my legs like lifting up above my knees, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so insane. Ever since then, I ride Tower of Terror exclusively just that way, because it's way more fun. So The ride gets over. We're all laughing and like, oh my god. Immediately, Christian goes, dude, feel my heart. And he grabs my hand, and it is ice cold,
Oh
like
my God.
frozen, like his soul has been just sucked out of his body. And he puts it right on his chest, and I can feel his heart going. I'm like, are you okay? Are you good? And he's like, dude, oh my god, I will never do that again. And I was like, oh my, we never rode it again that whole rest of that trip, but I still to this day is my favorite Disneyland story. Since then, Jose, Nate, and I have gone down to Disneyland since then, and we rode that ride like 6 or 7 times the last time, and it's definitely one of those rides that grows on you. You ride it the first time, it's definitely the most intimidating time. Second one, you already know what's gonna happen, but it's still kind of intimidating. But then after that third time, you're just like, you got to ride it. But anyway, that's my
That's
random
pretty good.
story.
Yeah, I had an interesting ride experience with Jose too.
Okay.
Back in middle school, we went to the spring break fair in Lacey.
Ooh.
Okay.
And we went on the zipper together. And you know that you are at a low budget fair when the foam handle in front of you is duct taped all over.
It's just duct tape around the bar.
Pretty much most of it was duct tape.
Oh my god.
And this was back in the day where flip phones were still the norm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so we start going, and at this point, we're both ballsy. We rock it back and forth and do all that, and all of a sudden, something starts banging around inside the cage. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? Oh my god. And then we're looking around, and then all of a sudden we see this little black object, and it's one of our phones, just like pinballing around in the cage
Like
with
a
us.
quarter lost in the washing machine.
And then all of a sudden, Jose Mr. Miyagi's this shit and just goes, boom, and smacks it up against the ceiling above us, and then he's like, here you go. I'm like, oh my god, dude, you just saved my phone. And we
That's
get
pretty
off
funny.
and
That's great.
oh my god, I ended up getting grounded that day or something.
But you still went to
Yeah.
you still had your fun.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
pretty good.
So speaking of that, have you ever lost anything on a ride that they had to stop and go out and go get your thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Have you ever had something like that happen?
Jared did.
Okay. This is
From
my
Subway?
stepbrother.
Oh.
No, not from Subway. This is my stepbrother. This is Jamison's half brother. But go ahead. What did you?
So we were on Thunder Mountain. Oh, okay. Actually, no. Jared and my dad did.
Oh,
My
before
dad
we
just
do
recently-
this, do you have anything about being lost? Any items being lost at theme parks? No?
No.
I have one of those. Anyway, go ahead. After this one, we'll segue into that.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So I'll do the more bizarre one second. So Jared, we were on Thunder. Oh my gosh, Jared lost 2 things on that trip. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, we were on Star Tours, and Jared
At
put,
Disneyland.
Yes.
It was at Disneyland.
Jared put his phone in the pocket on the bottom,
Oh my god.
and we ended up walking off the ride, and he's like, "Where's my phone?" And we're like,
Yeah, we're supposed to know where it is.
and we
Gee, man, I don't.
him and I run over back to the ride, and we're like, "Hey, he lost his phone on the ride," and the phone wasn't on the ride.
Uh-oh.
And so they're like, "Okay, it's fine. Go check down town hall, and it could be there." The second we got to town hall, they're like, "Oh, dude, this phone just came in." So if we were 5 seconds earlier,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have had the phone.
Yeah.
And so I think 2 days prior, we were on Thunder Mountain, which is at Disneyland. He lost his hat and the sack thing that you can put.
Because they have little pouches on the rides
Yeah.
to put items.
That I don't think he got that back. And okay,
And
so,
secretly they were like, "Thank God."
yeah, okay, and then so this recent trip, probably about 2 weeks ago, my dad has these like prescription sunglasses,
Okay.
and these are like, so they're like black transparency sunglasses where there's like, uh, it's like panthered kind of, so it's like there's
Okay. Yeah.
like little brown spots all in it.
Got it.
And he lost those glasses on Thunder Mountain. And so he went back while we were okay, so you know those bathrooms that are kind of by Thunder Mountain, kind of like
Yeah, by like the
rest-
Mexican restaurant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And so we all went to the bathroom and he's like, "Oh, I left my glasses." And so he went back to Thunder Mountain. He got glasses back, but this was at nighttime. And so they looked just like his glasses. Just like his glasses.
Except
They weren't prescriptioned.
Oh.
They were just sunglasses.
Okay.
And he didn't find this out until like a day or two later.
Oh my god.
And so he's like, these like don't even feel like prescription. And so mom tried them on. She's like, these are sunglasses. And so her and I just started laughing because we're like, what are the odds someone lost the exact same
Yeah, and
pair
he's
of
like
sunglasses?
putting it on. He's like, "Oh my god, my eyes! I can't see anymore."
Well, because even maybe a few hours prior from when he was saying they didn't feel prescription, I even like nudged mom's shoulder. I'm like, yeah, because someone lost the exact same glasses, and that actually happened.
Oh my
And so her and I are just laughing like, some idiot's got your glasses and they're prescription glasses. Oh,
Sunglasses. They were both sunglasses.
well, like, yeah, but they were like prescription
yeah. One
sunglasses.
was the other one. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, and that was like on our third day, or no, probably on our fourth day.
Okay.
So for the whole rest of the trip, he had these stupid sunglasses that weren't even his.
So I have
was
two
great.
lost items story. One involves me. Not really lost. This is the first time one of the first times I rode California Adventure or California Screamin', California Adventure. I was wearing a baseball hat, and they tell you take off your hats because they will fly off because it's a fast ride.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the loop-de-loop happens, and my hat falls off, and I'm like, oh god, what is up? And so I tell the lady
You
up
should
at
have
the
pulled
front.
the Mr. Miyagi. Just went,
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not Jose, man. I can't do that. So it falls off. I go over and I'm like, hey, my hat fell off. Got it back. Got it back though. So that was like
did it have
good thing.
like tracks, like imprint?
Yep,
on
there
the
was.
hat?
It landed right on the tracks, and they ran over it a couple
Yeah.
times. No, it fell all the way to the bottom. It's all gravel down there, so it was an easy. Like some dude went over there, picked
Oh,
it
that
up, brought it
actually
back to
reminds
me.
me of a story. Okay. Okay.
And then which I think, yeah, we'll have to maybe do like two more stories after mine. So we'll go one more story for you, and then we'll go one more story with you, Ashton. Okay, so this is my last story. This is something to do with something being lost. I'm outing Christian here again
Oh,
because
I know
this
one.
was
I've heard
so
this story so many
dumb
times.
that how it all happened and how we got it back. I have no idea.
With
So
everything in it.
yes, so Christian and all the gang. So like the previous story was Jose, Nate, Christian, and I. 4 people. There we go. We go on Indiana Jones. First day at the park. First ride we go on. Indiana Jones at Disneyland. Okay, ride happens. Done. Cool. What's the next thing we're going to do, guys? Haunted Mansion's a classic. Let's go to Haunted Mansion. Walk over to Haunted Mansion. We're standing in line for about 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a very long wait.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Christian goes, we're all joking about, he still has a smile on his face. Bro, I don't have my wallet. And we're like, get the fuck out of here. No, what? And he's like, dude, no. I seriously don't have my wallet. I'm like, oh, well,
That
damn,
sucks.
like, what, like, do you still, like, do you have money that we can, like, get for you and, like, you just pay us back? And he's like, dude, all my money is in my wallet. I cashed out of my bank all the money I had to go on this trip to have it in cash. And I was like, oh my God. Like, how much is this? And he's like, I think it was like between $400 to $600 in his wallet.
My God.
And I was like, oh my God, why? And so we go, all right, maybe it's still at Indiana Jones. So he's wearing basketball shorts that have that little cheap ass plastic button. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's what his secure wallet pocket was. Anyway, we go back to him and I go back to Indiana Jones. Nate and Jose still sticking out at Haunted Mansion. So we go over and we start. We ask the people, hey, you know, we have something lost. Like it's a wallet and blah blah blah. This and that, describing it. They go, you need to go to town hall. We go to town hall. They go, sorry, we don't have anything. But we don't normally get stuff within like, you know, maybe an hour. And so we're like, oh God. So we go back to Indiana Jones and we're like, okay. They said it might still be here. And they're like, oh, well, actually we actually do have a safe. We can go check that. But the person that has the key for that safe just went into a meeting and probably won't be out for another 20 minutes. And we're like, oh my God. And so we wait, and finally, I had to like wait at like kind of the halfway point. I was not allowed to go all the way to where the ride was. And Christian comes back and he's like, I got my wallet and I got everything in it. And I'm like, who the hell picked up a wallet at a theme park, said, this is not mine, turned around and gave it to an Imagineer. Then the Imagineer took it. The cast member. The cast member takes it. These are the employees. Cast member takes it, takes the wallet, puts it into a safe. Then from the transfer from the safe to Christian, none of what it was in the contents that were in his wallet were ever touched. And he had over like $400 in his wallet. And to this day, I'm like, that is the luckiest story I have ever heard, because there were so many moving parts that he got everything that he needed back. And that's still like the craziest story of something being lost. With it could have ruined the whole trip. This is literally minutes of being in Disneyland. So, yeah.
My God.
All right, Jamison, give me one last story. Gotta make a short one.
Those would be like a few minutes.
Okay, go.
So, I was in school, and my teacher saw that I was wearing a California Screamin' shirt. And can I say this teacher's name or?
We'll just use as Mrs. X.
Okay.
We'll do that.
She was my math teacher.
Okay.
You know who it is.
Okay.
And so she told me a story about how her and her husband and her kids were on that ride, and her husband was taking pictures, and he just had it around his neck, like the camera.
Okay.
And they went on the ride.
Oh, geez.
And on the loop-de-loop, the camera fell off his neck, landed on the bottom of the ride, shattered in pieces.
Wow. That sucks.
Like, that, all those pieces.
That's why they say put all your belongings in those little pouches.
I'm just like,
that sucks.
wow.
All right.
All right.
Give
so
me
last story here.
Yeah, 8-minute long story.
8 minute long. Oh, perfect. Okay. So, I've been to Wild Waves about 3 times. Now the most unique time that I went was during it was during October.
Okay. And they usually do something a little special.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Fright Fest.
Okay.
And they have little things around the park where, you know, little tiny attractions, and then they also have a walk through haunted building that you go
Oh,
through,
okay.
quote unquote. Now the first thing, you know, we go on a few rides here and there. You know, it's pretty good. We go on Timberhawk, which is one of my favorite roller coasters because it's a wooden roller coaster. It goes pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really, really got to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
And bathrooms are kind of scarce here. And so I go down this hill, and it's all paved. I go down this hill, and there's a bunch of people crowding around like this. It looked like a themed like porta potty or something like that.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, are you guys in line? They're like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right. And I go and open the door, and there's like this fence. Like, as soon as you open the door, I'm like, what the fuck? And then I hear a flush, and it looks gross in there. like it's definitely themed, and it looks fucking disgusting. And it just shoots water at me.
Oh.
Like straight, and it hit me in the fucking eye and got a little bit in my mouth.
Oh,
Like,
man.
it was
A
gross.
money shot.
Yes, as we say in the dish room. It was terrible, and
The smell.
yeah, it did smell. Yeah, I think they did that to add a little bit of ambiance to it. But they assured us it was clean water, and it was done pretty well.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
And there's this guy that was dressed up as like a scarecrow, but like fucked up looking.
Okay.
Like he's been tortured or some shit. And he came up behind me after I got sprayed, and I turned around. He's like maybe a foot away from me, like leaning forward. And he went, "Oh!" I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, Jesus!
The
Fuck
monkeys
you.
how the monkeys rip you apart.
And then I kicked him. It was pretty good. The haunted walkthrough wasn't too bad either. There was this one room in particular where it was just all like black lights. It was black paint, and then there's neon dots painted on the wall everywhere. We're walking through. I'm like, okay, I've already gone through like half of this thing. The jump scares are insane. What the fuck is gonna happen? It's empty.
Yeah.
What the fuck's in this room? So I'm about to exit, and all of a sudden, something out of the corner of my eye moves. I'm like, but there's nothing here. And then all of a sudden, it jumps in front of me, and it's this lady that has paint all over her to camouflage with the wall, and she just
Oh.
screams at the top of her lungs like a fucking wraith.
Dude, I'd
And
kick
I
her in
just
the vagina.
bolt through to the next room. But that was
Oh,
probably
oh my gosh.
one of my more memorable experiences.
I would have kicked her
a
so hard in the
theme park.
vagina, you wouldn't even like.
Oh my god, might have got stuck. I couldn't tell if she had clothes on.
So, everyone feel pretty satisfied with their theme park stories?
Wait, how much time
Uh,
we got?
We got like 4 minutes, and I
Okay.
also have to do a closing thing. So if you can give me 2 minutes,
Okay,
2
yeah.
minute story, go.
Probably like 30 seconds.
Go.
So, okay, I can't remember what park this was at, but there was a ride called the Ghost Rider.
That was at Knott's Berry.
Okay, so so you may remember this then.
Yeah, I
It
rode
was
it
a
a couple times.
full wooden roller coaster,
Yep.
long as hell. And my dad had to go to the bathroom really, really, really bad.
Oh no.
And so, this was even before he got in line that he knew he had to go to the bathroom. But he was hoping that the line would be quick, and he would just be able to get on, go to the bathroom. That didn't happen.
No, because this is one of their iconic tracks. This is their iconic.
And so,
ride.
since it's a wooden track, it's very bumpy.
Yep.
And when he was telling me the story, he was making it sound like he was on a rocket ship, like it was like going, and I think he said he peed a little bit, like,
little piddle came out.
and so. Because I saw him as soon as he got off the ride, he sprinted. I've never seen that old man run so fast in my life, and good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
Theme parks are awesome. That is the.
I actually
the
peed.
consensus.
I actually peed on Grizzly River.
Oh
Grizzly
my
one time.
god.
I had to go so bad. And
That's a water ride at California.
the very
Adventure.
because throughout the whole ride I was going a little bit on accident.
Oh
And the
my God.
very last drop, everything just shot
Oh.
out. Everything
Oh
just
my
shot
god.
out. Every little drop
Well,
shot
that's
out of
probably
my
the ride to
penis.
do it because no one's gonna know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much
I had
for
to go back
listening.
to the hotel right after that.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been PT3600.
Yeah, I PT'd a little bit.
If you guys have any theme park stories, make sure you leave it in the comment section below if you're watching the YouTube video. If you are listening to the audio version over on iTunes or Podbean for Android listeners and for Apple listeners, make sure you also go check out Bitcade because there is the full episodes of Bitcade are also in those feeds as well. Also on YouTube, there are those bit by bit episodes that are available to watch as well. I am at Ryan E. Moore on all social media. Ashton, where can we follow you at?
Pretty much just Twitter and That's at Ashton_Stom, and check me out on Mixer at Primal Target.
All right. Jamison, thank you so much for joining on this episode.
Yeah.
Where can we follow you at over on the internet?
Behind me.
Okay.
All right, well.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cue the outro.
Ashton, you smell like shit.
Fuck you, cunt.
Hey guys, it's Ryan again. Thanks so much for checking out PT3600. If you guys want to listen to the full official song of PT3600, it's Every Night by Between Giants featuring Violet Heart. Between Giants is a good buddy of mine, Tyler Burkage, and he is amazing. You can listen to him on SoundCloud and Spotify right now. He's got tons of other great tracks for you to listen to over there. For YouTube listeners, links are provided in the description below. Thanks once again to Between Giants, and also thanks to you for listening.